Hello everybody, welcome to another Versus Video Deck Tech. CVM here along with
BBD.
Good old Brian Braun doing. And we have a Jund mid-range deck this time. It's a little different from like the linear aggressive strategies I've been playing as of late. And I actually really think this deck has a lot of potential. So as we can see, there aren't any new cards in the actual deck itself as far as the spells go. But now we do have access to Temple of Malady, the green-black temple, and Mana Confluence. So these two cards will allow us to filter our draws so that we can hit our important spells like Rakdos's Return and Dragons. And Mana Confluence is going to make it so that we're always casting our spells on curve to be able to punish the slower control opponents and stay actually in the game against the aggressive opponents. So we can see from our creature base here we have Sylvan Caryatid, which I honestly feel like is just the most important card in the deck. It's going to fix our mana and accelerate us into our powerful spells. Corsair Prefix, Scavenging Ooze, both are just very good right now. These are the types of cards that can stop aggressive decks in their tracks, but also give you value against the other mid-range and control decks by themselves. So they're just very, very good. Then we have two dragons and two Polychronos. So as we can see here, we don't have a whole lot of ways to actually kill our opponent, but we have a bunch of removal and some card draw just to try and get us into the spot where we can take over the game. So we have Dreadbore, Abrupt Decay, Mizium Mortars for our removal suite, along with 2 Heroes Downfall and Vraska. So I think that Vraska is a card that is pretty underappreciated at the moment. I know I recently have switched to playing one in the sideboard of my Jund Monsters deck towards the end of last standard. And I think that Vraska has the potential to be very good in this new standard.
Yep, they printed a new Oblivion Ring, and Vraska conveniently destroys it.
That is correct.
So
people are going to be leaning on cards like that, and Vraska will be able to punish them. But it's also just a good answer to the majority of the creatures that are being played right now. It can kill Dragon, it can kill Polychronos, it can kill Master of Waves, Desecration Demon,
Jace, Elspeth.
Like, it can kill all of the very, very good cards right now.
Can even kill Underworld Connections.
That's pretty nice.
It is.
Pretty nice. So we do have 3 Underworld Connections and a Read the Bones. In a deck like this, I kind of like having a split on them, and then we do have the 4th Connections in the sideboard. But there are times where we're going to be wanting to cast our spells, our creatures that we have, taking advantage of our mana, and we don't just want to leave up a land every turn to get our card advantage out of it. Sometimes we just have to dig for a specific spell and then continue on with our game plan, and that's where the Read the Bones will come in. And then last but not least, 4 Thoughtseize.
Really, that's an interesting play. What would lead you to actually put Thoughtseize in your deck?
Well, you see, opponents usually have good cards in their hands, and I like to get rid of those cards.
Wow, that is just cold-hearted.
So it was a strategic choice to put Thoughtseize in the deck, and I feel like it was a strong one.
Yeah, you can definitely build a plan around the Thoughtseize.
You can build a plan around Thoughtseize, that is for sure. So in a deck like this where we have just a lot of removal, some hand disruption, some efficient creatures, we usually have a lot of different sideboard options, and that's what have made the Jund decks of the past very, very good, is because their sideboards are usually very strong. So let's go ahead and take a look at the sideboard and see what options we have. All right, we're back for the sideboard for the Jund mid-range deck. And as we can see here, we do have some more hand disruption with 2 Duress. And then we also have a Sire of Insanity and 2 Slaughter Games, which are all going to be very good against the same types of deck. I really like Sire of Insanity against the Sphinx's Revelation decks, as it's a way to actively attack their Sphinx's Revelation. Plus, they just don't really have many answers to it. If you can land a Sire, they're probably just going to lose.
Although they do have a newfound answer in Reprisal.
That is true. They do have a newfound answer in Reprisal. Same goes for the Burn deck, which Sire is also actually good against.
Yes.
Since they really can only kill it with like a War Leader's Helix or a Chain to the Rocks. But now they do have Reprisal, so I might have to rethink that one, but for now I'm happy with the 6/4.
And they have to rip the chain too, because they don't get to keep their hands. So
correct. And we do have some more removal, Mizium Mortars, 3 Doom Blades, and then 2 Golgari Charm, which you can use as removal against like the Soldier of the Pantheon decks. It's also very good as a way to kill like Master of Waves and take care of some enchantments out of the mono blue deck. But it's also good at just regenerating our creatures against Supreme Verdict, as well as killing troublesome enchantments like Detention Sphere. And 3 Mistcutter Hydras. So I still think that Mistcutter is one of, if not the best sideboard cards in Standard, and really any deck that I play that's going to be able to take advantage of it, I want to go ahead and play with Mistcutter Hydra. And I really like, decks with Caryatid and Thoughtseize. I think Hydra is very good in those types of decks.
What if you had Vorl the Hulklade in your deck? Would you play Mistcutter in the sideboard?
Protection from blue.
Ooh, that's awkward.
Unfortunately, you can't Vorl a Mistcutter Hydra.
That is awkward.
So that's the sideboard for the Jund midrange deck. Unfortunately, we're not going to be seeing Vorl targeting Mistcutter Hydra anytime soon, but we are going to go ahead and play some standard and see what happens with the new cards.
Just roll the dice and see how it pans out.